I think the first problem is the word planning. I think we assume we can do workforce planning once we know what the business plan or business strategy is. And actually business planning functions have become quite weak in many businesses. So this idea that you pick up something that tells you where the business is going and then you think about the workforce is quite tricky. I think looking ahead has become quite difficult for many businesses. I think the second problem is that the idea of workforce planning, lots of businesses, particularly now we talk so much about flexible labour markets, sort of hope we don't have to plan. We can hire people when we need them, we can get rid of them when we don't want them. The sad truth is often we can't hire them when we need them. You can scarcely ever buy all the skills you want, but I think it takes some while for managers to convince themselves that they really do have to think a little ahead and not just run themselves into trouble. And the final problem, I think, is that HR people really don't like data, particularly numerical data, but even qualitative data. I think there's a certain lack of confidence about, isn't this all very technical, don't we have to have millions of spreadsheets? And I think the thoughts about evidence, about seeing the direction of travel, I don't think we need be afraid of it, but I think HR talks itself into a slight state of fear still about workforce planning. I think we use these terms slightly oddly. For me, I suppose the heart of workforce planning is thinking about demand, what your organisation needs, thinking about supply, the people who you will have. But it is also for me about the action you take around that. So it isn't just about the plan, it is also about the doing. And for me, although I was interested that not everyone agrees with this perhaps, workforce planning is on different timeframes. It can be quite short term, but it can be very long term indeed. So I don't think a strategy is necessarily longer term than workforce planning. But I do think that workforce strategy is probably a wider thing. It looks at the entire employment relationship, at the way you're going to treat people, as well as where they're going to come from and the skills they're going to have. So I suppose I see workforce planning as one component that helps you frame a wider workforce strategy. But both for me need to travel through time. Both are about where you are now and where you're going.